my drive, my purpose is all around my girls. It's showing them that, yes, okay, life has thrown this at us, but there is always a way around things. There's always something that you can do, and you pick yourself up and you move on.
After the other day, Moses 5'8" for New South Wales.
Great to have your company. Welcome to Freddy the Eighth, proudly brought to you by Sportsbet, and welcome to you gentlemen as well.
Danica.
How are we going?
Good.
Yeah.
Good,
Big
good,
week.
good.
Big week coming up. What a great weekend of footy.
Oh, last weekend was sensational.
I know.
Monday's game.
Yeah,
That
great.
was-
Oh, the best.
Where were you watching it?
At home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so was I. I was just cheering. I didn't know what to do.
Mitchell Moses' last try, when he kicked on play 0,
Yes. Yeah.
I was on my feet.
It was awesome.
That's the way a halfback should play.
Yeah, and then did the Fox, Josh had a car, so
Oh, yeah.
he had,
Had
yeah.
everything.
Oh, yeah. I think my neighbours would have heard for sure. I was screaming at the TV. All right, we've got a huge show
They're
coming
used
up.
to those screamers, apparently.
No.
No, I'm not. Get your mind out of the gutter. I'm talking about cheering and laughing.
Yes, they often hear me cheering and laughing. All right, we'll go.
You're not helping, you idiot.
You're not helping. Come on.
Coming up on the show, we've got plenty to discuss. We're going to be talking the Bulldogs. I can't believe they're undefeated still. They've got a big test coming up with the Broncos. We've got a very inspirational guest. Looking forward to chatting to him. His story is just remarkable. We're going to be talking Mitchell Moses, and then we're going to be talking a lot of State of Origin and also a huge Anzac round preview. Also, don't forget you can send in some emails to f8@9.com.au. You can send us anything you want, what you want to see on the show. You can even ask some questions. It's not often that you would get a direct line to Joey and Freddie, so they can ask you.
DM Joey.
If you could
on
ask,
his Insta.
if you could ask Joey a question that you've always wanted to ask him, what would you ask him?
Oh, fix your toes, mate. Why wouldn't you fix your toes?
No, it's the way I was made.
No, there's something wrong with them.
Yeah, I know.
Is there actually something wrong with them? Like, is there?
My
there
toes or my head?
No, your toes.
Yeah, there's something wrong with them. I'm sure there's, what are the foot fetish called? Well, you'd know. You weirdo. Woogie.
Woogie, there's OnlyFans. You can go on OnlyFans.
Only feet.
Yes,
Only
There you go.
feet. Is it called Only Feet?
I don't know. I'm not a foot.
only.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, we did have someone email in something very interesting this week. They reminded us, they took us down a bit of a trip down memory lane. This is Darren Seath sent us in this one, a reminder for Freddie ruining Wall's farewell match in 1992.
I don't know what I did to him.
Oh, you pulled the king.
Wally.
You can't do that to the
He
king.
wasn't going to catch him anyway.
He
I was
would
patting
have.
him on the back. He didn't try too hard.
He's probably happy you
He
grabbed
didn't
you.
try too hard.
So you just won that night?
No, I think actually, Wally, I think they beat us.
Was that a big night after that game?
Oh, Gold Coast.
Remember
Footy
those
second.
days, going to the Gold Coast and playing? Mouth guard, collared shirt.
You get off
Brute
at the
33.
airport and there'll be all ladies from the nightclubs giving you ticket, drink vouchers and all sorts of things.
So this is 1992, yeah.
Look at that fatty.
He's a big bloke with a big fat ass. I get called
God.
fat ass. Look at your rump. Go the king.
Oh, the king, look at the Kings. What a legend.
What a legend.
I still remember after the last Origin game, I played in his last Origin game.
In Walls.
Yeah, up at, what was Lang Park. In the end of the game, I said, swap jumpers. Sorry, young bloke. Anyway.
And we are, of course, celebrating Anzac round. So we've got a jersey here. This is the Dragons jersey, and you've got the Knights jersey as well.
So there's a bit of story. This is the theme is Newcastle's own. The jersey pays tribute to the green and brown. The colours worn by the 35th Regiment in World War I, which was made up heavily of men from the Newcastle and Hunter region. Over 600 Newcastle men died wearing those colours, including Clarence Smith-Jeffries, who won a Victoria Cross. He was born in Wallsend, so this jersey pays tribute to them. And the Victorian Cross is shown at the big cathedral on top of the hill there at Newcastle. I think it's the only Victoria Cross.
Yeah.
There's a cathedral where KP is. There it is.
There it is.
Geez, pretty special to hold that.
Yeah, not many would.
Very
And
special.
this one next to me, this one's the Dragons one, and this one's dedicated to Spencer Henry Walklate, who actually played for the Dragons in 1943, and then he went on to serve his country and passed away, and he was laid to rest in 2014 in Port Moresby. So,
He was up in New Guinea, yeah. He was part of like an SAS group. And, yeah,
so
Very-
boys.
Great
you.
weekend.
So yeah, and some great jerseys as well. Some sneak
It's a
peeks of
great
some of
jersey,
them.
this
So
It's a good colour, isn't it? I like
it
it.
is
Come
such
on.
a and also such
Inspire the team. Lift,
Yeah.
boys. Lift.
such a special round, a really important one that everyone does go out and celebrate, but also pay their respects to.
The other thing is, most of the players learn something. There's a good chance they'll learn something this week. You know, you'll get someone in, they'll talk about their experience, and yeah, a bit of gratefulness is always good for all.
Yeah,
Bit of for
big
everyone.
thanks to the Knights and the Dragons for sending these ones in on the couch here on Freddy the Eighth. But yeah, big weekend of footy. So let's talk a little bit about the footy this weekend. The Bulldogs, undefeated. It's quite remarkable. Second week in a row, they're breaking all kinds of records as well. Second week in a row that they've held the opposition to nil.
Overs.
First time ever.
Yeah, first time
history.
ever in history of the club. But they've got a great match coming up against the Broncos this weekend
Thursday
on Thursday
night.
Yeah.
Can't
is
wait.
this the, because you're looking at some of the teams they have played, is this probably their biggest test so far?
So one of the conversations over the weekend just gone was about travel. Now, the Dogs haven't left Sydney. So they've now got a run of Brisbane, Magic Round, which is in Brisbane, and then Canberra.
But do you think that, because the Dogs actually stay in a hotel the night before every single game, no matter where they are. So
Even they're in Sydney?
Even when they're in Sydney, they always,
We did that at the Roosters.
yeah, they...
Why was that for the players or the coaching staff?
Coaching staff. Sticky and Dean paid Cardi.
Straight to the
Yeah.
Charo.
Yeah.
So I wonder whether that will actually impact the...
You still got to
the
travel,
Bulldogs,
but
yeah.
also with travel, there's the recovery side of it. You know, it's not good to travel. Like at the end of the day, it's ideal to walk down, have a swim in the ocean, rest. You know, lining up in airports and travelling on planes isn't the best thing for recovery. So, you know, there's that part of it. And you can understand some clubs, you know, being disgruntled about what they've gone through over the past couple of weeks, but they'll get tested over the next month.
How impressive has Coach Cameron Serrato been for this Bulldogs side, especially looking at their results this year and last year as well? His focus on defence. We had him on the panel pre-game ahead of the Good Friday clash, and I actually asked him. I said, "When are you actually sort of happy with a defensive effort?" And he looked at me seriously and he said, "No, when we hold them to zero." He goes, "I actually am not happy unless."
He's very calm, isn't he? Very calm. And he looks like a sort of coach who you'd just want to play for. Like he played at Newcastle and the guys I know who play with him said he's just a champion fella. And you can see that the way he comes across, but how calm he is and how calm he would give out his messages. But they look a happy club. They look like they're all on board pulling in the one direction. And they can win the comp. I thought the next 2, 3, 4 years, but geez, I reckon this year they're a huge chance.
Yeah, they're humming. I think what it does show also that a couple of years ago when he was coaching and they weren't doing so well, how well he held his nerve through that period. And normally when you're losing through there, you start to sort of get doubt. You start to protect yourself and maybe blame people, and you know, it's mostly guides your personality a bit. But through that period, he didn't. He handled it really well, and since then, and he asked a lot of the players. If you talk to anyone or you watch the Bulldogs, they're fit. So he asked a lot of the players, and they seem happy enough to do the work. So in that itself, shows a lot of respect.
What about this test against the Broncos? Some changes as well for the Broncos. No Reece Walsh. Selwyn Cobbo's been named at fullback.
Well, they've been ordinary the last couple of weeks, Brisbane. They were really ordinary against the Warriors. Day games, when you can use the ball, the Broncos have looked unbeatable, but on a slippery night when it's wet, they need to learn how to win ugly, because the other night there, actually, well done to Reece. He played full game and he's out for 4 to 6 weeks with some sort of injury. But
knee injury.
They need to learn how to win ugly, because at the moment, any team puts the pressure on them, especially in those wet conditions, they're not aiming up. So it's going to be a test.
how big of a test do you think it will be for the Broncos?
Yeah.
Well, Dogs will give him nothing.
I don't know what they're doing at the moment. Like, they've got as good to go forward as anyone. Like, Payne plays big minutes. No one's put him on his back yet, and that's just... He's got all this offloading ability. I'm yet to see someone come off his shoulder and run through the line
Support
off an offload.
late.
Like, it's just all seams. He throws it, and then, you know, they throw it back to someone 5 metres away. They're just not working with him at the moment. And then when you do work with him, what it does, it drags all the defence in. And then all of a sudden there's options off that. Although Ben Hunt was a little bit quiet last week. So Ben Hunt's got to find his way back into this team. I think he's such a competitor, and it just didn't look like he competed last week.
Ben Hunt's big thing is on the right-hand side of the ruck, dummy, right foot step, duck. That's his big... Now he's on the left-hand side. He's had to adjust. I thought last week against the Warriors, you could see he was in two minds. Do I pass? Do I run? Do I pass? And a couple of passes just went to ground. So simplify the way you play. I think you'll see a different Brisbane team. This one will go right down to the wire. I think the Dogs will win just, but this will be a ripper.
How do you see it playing out?
I think the Dogs, they're going too well. Yes. And it was interesting when spoke to Cameron Sherrata before the game. I think you were speaking, used to. And he was talking about defence, and he said, you know, a lot of it's spirit. He said, but there's also a lot of technical stuff around that as well, a lot of science. So obviously the staff there are doing a pretty good job as well. So 2 zeros in 2 weeks.
That's it, the defensive mindset. There you go.
It's a record.
It's a great mindset that they do have of the Dogs. Big game coming up. But we've also got a big show coming up right here. And after the break, we're going to be speaking to a very special guest. Really excited to talk to this guy and get some of his stories. It is just something that you do not want to miss. That is coming up just after this.
The growth of Women's Rugby League has been phenomenal.
We've wanted this so badly, but we have to go out and perform.
They couldn't see what we could see.
Here she goes!
It gives me this rush of adrenaline. It's a feeling that I live for.
Next time I'm down there, I'm kicking it.
What a kick!
It seriously lived up to the hype.
Over 1 million people watched that game.
Wrestling hose the last 3 hours. Now I've got to wrestle these girls.
I love the chaos of my life.
I just felt like I had nothing else in the way.
I have so much fun.
Women's Rugby League, it is pure footy.
They're entertainment.
This means a lot to so many people. Give me no excuse but to pick you.
Our mindset's not making tackles, it's winning.
It feels like a dream.
This is rugby league. This is what it can do.
It's something that's just in your skin. No one can ever take it away from us.
Yes, looking forward to that documentary, Breakthrough, airing on the Wednesday night before Women's State of Origin kicks off. But of course, this week we are celebrating ANZAC round in the NRL, and I'm pleased to say we are joined by a very special guest here on the couch, current member of the Armed Forces, Lieutenant Commander Dave Miln. Great to have you on, Freddy the Eighth. You have such a remarkable story. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but I just want to ask you, Anzac Day for you, how important is this one to celebrate but also show respect to those who are current and former serving members of the Armed Forces?
Yeah, Anzac's always important. Every day is a Remembrance Day, but Anzac is always slightly more pertinent and poignant. And for me, it's all about remembering those that have gone before us, those that didn't make it. And then as well, on the other side, it's checking in with those mates that are still serving, still there, just making sure everyone's good to go.
Now, you've got a special guest with you here. So I don't know whether you can see Suki as well. She's absolutely adorable. Tell us a little bit about your story and what happened. It was only pretty recently as well, just a few years ago.
Yeah, so in late December 2022, I was on a posting to the United States, working over there on behalf of the Australian Defence Force. And I was in an accident whilst my family and I were on holiday. We were on a ski holiday in Northern California. And we ended up in a snow clearance machine. Looks like a big combine harvester, essentially. And through one thing or another, it was inevitable that we were going into the machine, and I put my left leg over my eldest daughter, who was between my legs, and threw my body over my youngest daughter, who was on my hip. As we went in, took my left leg off, crushed my right leg, and pinned me at the hips, where I broke my pelvis into 4 places and part of my spine. But thankfully, it saved the life of my eldest daughter, who she ended up with, again, broken leg, broken femur, and broken pelvis. But she's making a recovery. And my youngest daughter came out without a scratch. But like I say, that was 2 years and 5 months ago, and we're just doing the best we can with what we have now, and trying to move on and live with it.
That is such a remarkable story to put your body on the line for your daughters going in a situation like that as well, and such a quick thinking moment. I can imagine you wouldn't have had a lot of time when you're coming down, you're sliding down the snow. Yeah, no, it was instinct, I think, but I would 100% do the same thing over and over again. It was 10 foot from us to the machine, so yeah, it really wasn't much time to think about it. Those instincts, you served in the military. Do you think those instincts were born with you, where putting your body on the line, you did that in the military, but then you also did that with your daughters? Do you think that is ingrained in you, or is something you've got through your military training? I think there's probably part of it that's military side of things, but I also think that a lot of it just comes down to being a father. Little girls are pride and joy, and now 6 and 4, and I'd do anything for them.
Now, your wife was there as well.
Yeah, and that's...
What did her instincts tell her to do?
Look, it's always a hard one and a difficult piece for her, because she always tends to be left out of that equation, but she watched both her daughters and her husband going into a machine, and she thought that was it. And that, you start questioning a lot of things then. But thankfully, she kicked straight into sort of the medical training that she had through being a Defence Force member, and actually saved my life in the situation that we were in. Part of your rehab, obviously, through sport. You're wearing the Invictus Games shirt there. Tell us about what sport helped you with your recovery. Yeah, so Invictus is an amazing pathway, and through that I've been introduced to a whole series of different parasports that I've been able to look at and decide what works for me, and I'm trying to pursue that now outside of Invictus. But the community is always there and can always fall back on that, and it's just like such a great bunch of people with all those similar sort of mindset to you have the whole time.
Can you tell us about Prince Harry? Well, yeah, a mixed report in the media. You wouldn't know what he's like.
Oh, he gets hammered, doesn't he?
Oh, it's torture. Yeah. Listen to anything about Meghan or Harry, you wouldn't have a clue what they're like. What's he like?
He's an amazing individual. The fact that he's set the whole Invictus piece up, it's just a testament to him. And he probably had more standing ovations, more applause than anyone else, and there was all sorts of people there at Invictus. But he's always quiet-spoken and always interested in the individual and willing to meet everyone. And we go through a little sort of side ceremony every time we go to Invictus as the Australian team, and present him with a set of budgie smugglers each time. And there's always that sort of connection there, which I love. And he always goes out of his way to make sure that he's there for things like that.
How's he fill him out?
Well, I don't know. We never actually see him on, so...
Andrew. Now, you're heading over to the Paralympics as well.
Fingers crossed. I'm lucky enough that I got longlisted for the Winter Paralympics. We've got our briefing next week down in Melbourne, but just trying to carve that pathway now towards that and continue my journey in sport. And I understand a lot of fundraising is needed, because it can be, well, it is such an expensive thing to do. Yeah, it's an incredibly expensive endeavour. And the sports are little enough in Australia that there isn't much funding there, so everything's self-funded, and we spend probably about $45,000 per athlete in a season to try and get to all the competitions that we need to get to and the training camps that we need to get to, which makes it hard, but the results are worthwhile.
You were telling us before, can you roughly go through the cost of your new legs?
Yeah, so I'm probably wearing about $250,000 worth of prosthetic legs to aid me in walking around in day-to-day life. Knees and the ankles are the most expensive part, but just the carbon fibre pieces that actually attach to my body are worth $50K by themselves.
And how long do they last?
So the knee and the ankle, the electronic pieces, they'll last about 6 years before we can't replace any of the parts in them. And then the pieces that fit onto your legs, the carbon fibre pieces, they can be anything up to a year, 2 years potentially. But like as your legs change shape and size, they have to change as well.
Tell us a little bit about this absolutely adorable Suki underneath that's here.
So Suki is a assistance dog. Yeah, she's finally chilled out from Defence Community Dogs, and they have an amazing program where they take guide dogs that have failed guide dog training, and they take them out to Bathurst, where they use the correctional facilities out there with the guys that are going through their work release program, and they use the correctional facility to train them, and then they provide them to veterans and serving members of the Defence Force for PTSD and anxiety.
Now you're telling us about before with your kids and your wife that you all have some form of PTSD since the accident, and Suki actually goes around and basically sorts you all out.
Yeah, no,
it's not normal.
No, she's amazing. Normally the dogs are trained to focus on one person, but she's been put in an environment where she's got 4 people with complex PTSD around her all the time, and so she will divide her time and try and assist all of us through daily pieces, which is just amazing. She's an amazing character, amazing temperament. So,
what more do you think we can do as a country or government for returned servicemen and women?
Look, it's always hard, and it's always going to be a controversial subject. As a still serving member, it's hard to describe it because I haven't had to go through that process yet. But from what I understand, like the transition from serving back into civilian life is the hardest piece for most of those members, both from the mental perspective, everything that you've potentially lost, and that's where Invictus jumps in a lot with the sporting side, but also with the sort of the trying to do the administration and the paperwork that you have to do to get everything recognised as you move on.
The one thing you're aware of, I think, is having purpose. Obviously, getting into exercise, competition.
Yep.
And we've got a lot of people out there at the moment have mental health problems. How important is it to find some sort of purpose? And how hard is it? Like, you've had to change your purpose. How hard is it to find another one, and how did you go about doing that?
Look, it's hard, and Invictus is great for that because it brings you back into that environment that we all know as serving members, brings you back into that team, and provides you with an opportunity to sort of go and look at different sports and find something within those. And it may not be that the sport is the thing for you, it may just be that it's the community. For me, my drive, my purpose is all around my girls. It's showing them that, yes, okay, life has thrown this at us, but there is always a way around things. There's always something that you can do, and you pick yourself up and you move on and make the most of it.
Well, you are just an absolutely remarkable human being. Your incredible story as well, showing such resilience. And we do have those donation, that website up on the screen at the moment. So if anyone at home tuning in wants to donate to this great cause to get you over, represent Australia at the Paralympic Games in Italy next year, head online now to donate. But thank you so much for joining us here on Freddy the Eighth. We wish you all the best, and we'll certainly be following your journey as well.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, stick around. Plenty more coming up on this show. Coming up next, we're going to be looking at some of the best tries, and we're going to get Freddy to rank his ones from the week.
Andrew with a little kick. He's looking for the regather. The bounce is important. Oh, he puts a bat on it. Now Craigie puts it inside. Matthew puts it outside. Craigie puts the ball over the shoulder. Then a flick pass. Have a look at this for razzle dazzle. Now Andrew puts a kick across. They're going to score. That is a miraculous try. That is beautiful.
How good is a bit of razzle dazzle?
Was that late in the game?
That was like 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, right.
We used to talk about it on the weekend. Send them home happy. Always get that last try.
Yeah, just try. Well, this would have been the most important try of the day. You won by 50, over 50.
60-0 we won that game.
60.
But that's something that has everyone just on their feet.
Yeah. Send them home happy.
Yeah.
Straight to the pub.
Go the Hughesy. Just another one of Hughesy's tries.
There you go.
He set you up for plenty.
Well, that was a great try. What about some of the tries that we got to witness this week, Freddie?
Well, we got a bit of razzle-dazzle from the Dolphins. Yep. So we've got Cody Nikorima. He came up with that beautiful flick pass. A lot of flick passes. Scott Sorensen had a lovely flick pass as well. And Ray Stone, he scored 2, both from support.
So emotional, Ray.
Yeah, look at him. He's so... Just watch how happy he is.
Smile off his face.
Yeah. Let's see if there's even a reaction. Ray says a try. He actually did his ACL scoring a try in Melbourne. Ready?
No.
Yeah, he's from one of those cowboy movies in the 90s.
I'm going to put that down the bottom just for Ray's reaction.
Yep.
See, Payne, you're gone. Nikorima, party trick. Next one, Mitchell Moses. This was just so important in the game. So important for the Parramatta club. Everyone was just waiting on his comeback. A lot of pressure.
Play zero. That was off for 6 to go.
And the hands, they're slowing down to...
He's got good Bailey Simonson.
Bailey Simonson. They're getting some players back.
Was this the one where you were up screaming?
No, no, no. I think it was one of the Josh Adokar moments.
Oh, his first try.
Yeah, yeah.
And he got an intercept late as well.
Yeah,
what a great way to finish the day.
Yeah, the intercept was great, yeah.
Moses Magic, righto. Will Kennedy, you're gone. Moses going to slip in there. Timing is everything, especially with tries. And, of course, Isaiah. Now, Joey early in his career ripped his kicking licence away from him, but I think this is now his 3rd try from a kick. Look at that.
I wonder why.
It ended up ending in a kick. Brian Toto sliding over in the corner. And then on this is last year. Look at him.
I remember interviewing him.
Yeah.
I remember interviewing him after that.
What did he say?
He was laughing at himself about it. He's like, oh, you know, sometimes he goes, I see other guys do it, and
he's hit this kick. I think he's even shaped it.
Great to see Blaze Talangi scored a try. Zay Papali scored a try as well. So
is he
for
fully,
the newcomers,
fully
he's got his points back. And
that's better than Nicoroma's. You lasted 10 seconds, Cody. You're gone.
Last week
well
doubled the merits, and
you made the try scoring list.
There you go.
Yeah.
I wonder whether anyone at the top's going to get taken off.
Yeah,
well, that was pretty good. The last minute.
Yeah, that was such a
Actually, that's more Moses. He's got to go forward. Latrell, you're down.
There you go.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Timing's everything, lads.
Yep. All right, talk us through your votes for this week.
Well, Max King, Mr. Overs, he got 1 for me. Mitch
what do you
Moses,
call him Overs for?
You know, you were the one who brought it up. Mitch Moses, masterclass, first game back. And 3.
Your favourite.
My favourite, yeah. Cody Walker's my favourite, but I think Isaiah Katoa's nipping at his heels.
And the two, you both in agreement there with Katoa.
He was brilliant.
What is it specifically?
Everything.
Everything. What his strongest?
Everything. He's passing, his pass selection. You go through the last 30 years and you go through all the halfbacks, Ricky Stewart, Alfie, JT, all of them, Nathan, he's got all the attributes. He's got all the attributes to be a great halfback. He's 21. He's got another 10, 15 years in front of him. And the best thing, we all get to watch him.
He's New South Wales.
He's a Blue.
Yeah, he's Blue.
Yep.
I went down and saw him in the sheds after they played South Sydney.
And made sure of that.
Made sure.
Someone else who's also a Blue, Mitchell Moses. What a game to come back in.
Well,
and what a performance.
If Nathan's fit, after the other day, Moses is 5'8" for New South Wales. I was the other way. I was Luai at 5'8", but after this performance, I know it's only one game, but there was things I saw, the way him and the way Moses and Nathan Cleary would play together.
Well, we're going to be getting up your New South Wales teams coming up a little later on in the show, so we'll talk about that then. But yeah, what a big relief as well for
that was a great game.
Eels.
One of the great games, and here he is, Max Overs Kings. First try he scored in first grade. Jeez, he's playing well. All the middles, lightweight middles, Max King, Kurt Mann, Josh Curran, Jamin Salmon, they're all lightweight, but so quick.
Move
great
fast.
Agility, getting behind
fast.
the ruck. Look at this,
Speed.
just charging.
The other thing is their discipline's so good, because if they weren't, they'd get rolled. Like they'd get run over. Size and, just mathematics.
I had a look.
Physics.
They give away on average 6 penalties a game.
6 penalties.
Which other teams are up around 9, 10.
They're completing over 80. I think they're at 9 points a game at the moment. And then my other one was Hudson Young. He was just too good again. His form's
He's
awesome.
in the lead.
Turbo's back this week.
Back. We spoke about that on the sideline the other night. You didn't believe me.
No.
I know.
Geez, Hudson Young's, he's a moral for the Origin. I know Angus is on the left side, but Hudson, you can put him on the bench and he covers, you can play centre, you can even play him on the wing. Back row, you can play him in the middle with his speed around the middle.
You also play Angus in the middle as well as the front row. The way he's playing at the moment, very strong.
All right, we'll stick around because coming up next on Freddy the Eighth, we're going to be talking a little bit more about this Bulldogs-Broncos matchup. Great one there, and also a little bit more about State of Origin, Mitch Moses as well. So stick around, all that coming up straight after this.
The ANZAC game of 2004, we're both pretty even teams, and it was just that time of the game where I knew something had to happen and I didn't think we were doing enough.
Now Fittler.
It was Lance Thompson, actually. I saw him leaning out, and that was always the trigger to me if someone chased me, even at 32 years old, to come off my left foot.
Puts on the step, goes right through.
I don't know what Ben thinks about his tackle, but I don't know how I sidestepped him, and I could see Nathan Blacklock over my left-hand shoulder. They came in and got me towards the end. I wasn't going very quick at all.
That was magnificent stuff.
At the time, it was awesome, but it's something that I look back on now. Every single year as I go to the game, I work at the game, and I get to hear Rabs commentate that try and say my name. Age shall not weary them.
Well, age shall not weary them. Freddy Fittler scores on Anzac Day.
Oh, what a day. What a memory.
That was cool.
Yeah, what a call.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I remember it. You just remember all the sounds, all the people. I can still remember that. And then, of course, it gets refreshed every year.
Yeah.
You never forget it. So thanks, Rabbi.
Yeah, there you go. I'm looking forward to this Anzac round as well.
This is very interesting. This is very interesting game.
Also looking forward to State of Origin. I feel like we can say the countdown. It's officially on. Because
5 weeks?
Yeah.
It's on in October. Start talking about it.
It actually is. So let's bring up your team from last week, the New South Wales Blues team from last week that you selected. And we have one change this week.
I think what I saw, I'd be locking in fully fit, I think Mitchell Moses. I know last year they got together before the series and with Michael Maguire, and they agreed that Moses was going to be 5'8".
Do you think Laurie would pick him
it's
that
hard
way?
not. You have to pick him. What I saw the other day from Mitchell Moses, first game back.
So how would it work?
Well, he'd be around the left side. Nathan would be on the ball. Do a lot of the kicking. And I actually spoke to Mitchell Moses and he said, I didn't mind. I'll be the backup singer. Which isn't really in his personality, but for the good of the state and good of the team, he'd do it.
Does it make them even more damaging that way, Freddie?
I think we've got to sit and wait I remember a game you came back. Remember you played Brisbane? You played one of the best games I ever saw you play up there. You come back from a big, long injury.
That was my knee. It's
from your knee.
2001.
Yeah. I just think you've got to give it time because you have a build-up to the first game. He's got to bye this week. And then, so I just think give it a couple of weeks. I reckon you've got another couple of games, but I'm not against the idea. I just think another couple of games, definitely.
So what about for Parramatta with Mitch Moses back now and the performance that we saw from them on Monday, Easter Monday? Is it too late for them to start a charge towards the finals?
No,
or is
not
it
necessarily.
Still, this
you
is
only
now
got to win
season
3 more in a row.
Yeah. So they've got the bye this week.
Bye this week,
Yep.
and then I think the Sharks are up next for them.
He unlocked everyone. Dylan Brown didn't have the responsibility. He went back to 5'8". Dylan Brown unlocked everyone outside of him. Mitchell unlocked everyone. Having that general, that dominant voice, dominant personality, dominant presence.
Yeah.
He was out of this world.
Completed 87%. He had 3 try assists, kicked a 40-20. The team made 7 errors. They're just organised. They felt organised. They were comfortable.
And it wasn't
they were
like
confident.
they threw the ball around.
Yeah, and
It
also
was a
at one
great
point they
game.
had 2 players in the sin bin.
During that time, there was 12 v 11. The game was so good to watch.
Yeah.
Warren Ryan, my old coach, who I talk footy with, he reckons the number for rugby league should be 11 aside.
On the field at
Because
once.
the field hasn't got bigger since 1908. But every year, every 10 years, everyone
players
gets
have
bigger,
gotten
stronger,
bigger.
faster.
Fitter.
Yeah.
Go have a look at that 3 or 4 minutes when it was 12 v 11.
Yeah.
Entertaining.
Well, Mitchell Moses, he was certainly having a crack on Monday. So let's have a look at some other players who are having a crack across the weekend. We love Aussies getting out and having a crack. So this one, I love the Metcalf. So missed field goal and then into the game-winning kick. But the moment that he just said the camera was on him and he said, "Yep, that's me."
Give me it.
He just
Yeah,
So-
he's a good young player, Luke Metcalf. Horrendous run with injuries the last few years. He had a knee reconstruction and then he's had hamstring problems. But the way he stood up and nailed this kick never looked like missing. Well done, young man.
He spoke about a moment watching Sean Johnson do something similar. And he said when he watched that moment, he thought, you know what, I'd love to have a crack at that. And he said the moment came up and all he could think about was kicking it.
And then this one as well, Josh Kerr, big Josh Kerr. He's had a couple of weeks.
He did that last week. He got the arm over to provide the offload when they scored.
That's right.
And then he's done it again to score. Well done.
Yeah.
Blew me away in the All-Stars game. He was captain. He spoke after full time. I got to say, the way he spoke was really incredible.
Yeah, he's such a well-grounded person, so lovely as well.
Is he the one that slept with the microwave open?
He did, yeah.
I've never heard more bullshit in my life.
Because why was it again?
Because they wanted to make him bigger to play AFL.
To play AFL, that's right. Yeah.
Docs are calling.
Peter Vasotis. Well, it's
don't do it at home.
He's a unit, yeah. All right, it is now time to check in with Joel Kane from Sportsbet.
Game 150, well done Alex Twile and Blake Lowry, but meat pies have not been their friend. But last week, inspiration, Max King breaks a 6-year drought, and of course Josh Kerr and a milestone. So our milestone men this week, either of these two to score, $18. Max bet applies, enjoy it.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
Footy fans, this is your chance to be a part of the action.
100% footy and Freddy the Eighth are live in Brisbane and we want you there.
So make sure you join us, Howard Smith Wolves, Monday, April 28, a night of big laughs, big calls and all things rugby league.
We'll see you there.
We'll see you there. Yes, we're heading to Vegas Monday. How good.
Love Brisbane.
Andrew.
So we're filming on Monday.
We're filming.
I'm going to get right on the sip.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a crack then.
Yep.
You staying that night or are you coming home?
No, we're coming home.
Oh, yeah.
But that's all
Up
right.
and back. That's
So
all
you're
right.
going to drink during the show?
Yeah.
Before, during, after.
Yeah, and we'll get some fans down there. So if anyone's in Brisbane, come along. We're going to be...
We've got to get him because I'm well trained. I can handle it. He loses his shit.
I know. I've witnessed it.
Here you go, Freddie.
Dance floor.
Freddie's got no pants on.
Why is he in the hot tub over there?
Poaching eggs.
All right, well, we will get a hot tub story at one point. I'll ask again at the end of the show. All right, let's look at the games from the weekend. We discussed the Bulldogs-Broncos match earlier, but Roosters-Dragons on Friday afternoon. This one, one of the best games in the Rugby League calendar. Who do we think is going to win this one?
The Dragons are in great form.
I like the Dragons. Yeah. I really like the Dragons.
The Dragons are in really good form. I think they're finding their style. Clint Govson's having a great game with and without the ball, saving tries. He's playing fantastic. Good to see. Look at that. Look at his balance.
The young King Tonga, the young half. Geez, there's massive reps on him. I'm looking forward to watching him. But this will be a great game. Sellout, day game. Powerful edges.
Egan Butcher and
the Dragons.
Angus.
Angus back, yep. I think the Dragons can win.
Dragons?
No.
Roosters.
Rooster.
Yeah. It was a big, it was a massive scoreline last year. So.
Yeah, the Roosters pumped them.
Yeah,
beat them by 40 odd.
Yeah. So closer one this year?
Definitely.
Okay, cool. All right, Storm Rabbitohs at Amy Park on Friday night.
Latrell the fullback, Joey Gray to the bench.
Yeah.
I think Wayne's put Latrell back there to try to spark his running game. They really missed his running game. Storm by plenty.
Nelson back. Big Nas, and also Nick Meaney. So on the other Storm as well. What's the record? Haven't won there. They've never won there.
Haven't won since 1999.
1999.
Yeah. It's when double acid wash was acid wash.
They were
jeans.
good.
They were good, weren't they?
Yeah, they were hot.
Yeah. Kayaks, just stinky.
I asked about them yesterday. I was talking to someone yesterday about kayaks.
What are kayaks?
These shoes. Honestly,
shoes.
you could wear 3 socks with them and still the worst foot odour ever.
Especially
They're very comfortable. When you're on the dance floor for like
they're very comfortable,
5 hours, just dancing up the
rocking
storm
away
on the podium with your shirt off.
Just can't get any more out of this body. Thumbs out.
And then finally, this one, I cannot wait for this game. So, West Tigers up against the Sharks. Leichhardt. We haven't done a game at Leichhardt this whole season. I can't wait for this one. Leichhardt's going to be packed.
It's going to be pumping.
Pumping.
It'll be interesting what they do with Lockie Galvin.
Well, he's been named.
He's been named, and also Royce Hunt's back as well. I think Royce Hunt and Jack Bird have been doing a great job coming off the bench. So I'm going Cronulla. They're too steady at the moment.
Tigers, morals.
Tigers, morals.
Morals?
No, Toby Rudolph as well, out for the next 6 weeks for Cronulla. So bit of a loss there in terms of size. But so we're going to go Tigers, morals. How do we think
I'm going Sharks.
Oh, you're going Sharks and you're going... how do we think the balance will be? Obviously, there was a fair bit of fallout with Lockie Galvin. Do we think that the partnership in the halves, no love lost?
It's very interesting, I've got to say. It's very interesting. And then Shane Richardson's doubled down and said, well, he's not leaving until the end of 96. So, unless
96, 26.
2026.
You're thinking of kayaks again.
I'm getting the producer saying break. We've had enough.
All right, stick around. We're going to be back to wrap it all up after this. All right, it is time to wrap up the show. So, who is it a big week for this week?
Lockie Galvin and the Tigers.
Yep.
Yeah. Big win.
Big week.
Big win.
Yep.
Tipping for the Tigers.
And we think that it'll be a good partnership on the field?
Yeah. Once they're on the field,
once they kick off, it'll be fine.
All right. Well, there you go. Plenty of footy coming up your way. Thanks for joining us here on Freddy the Eighth. We'll catch you again next week.
This has been another presentation from Nine's Wide World of Sports.